Greetings, fellow readers, and greetings, fellow cinephiles. Today we're having a bit of a crossover with my two channels, Artistic Popcorn and Cameron Shank Reader, converging here so that I can count down top 10 movies better than the book. These are going to be movies based off of books that I feel are just better than the source material. I personally tend to lean toward books being better than the movies. I feel like that's the general consensus. But these 10 I just felt were better. Simple way of explaining it. If I do have some ground rules here. First off, I have to have watched both the movie and read the book. Uh, I think that speaks for itself. Both the book and movie have to be well liked. They have to be well regarded. And lastly, yeah, these are all my opinion. Number 10 is what I feel is the lowest gap in quality. I feel like it's the lowest jump. So that's like the closest in quality, I feel. And then goes to number one, which I feel is the biggest jump in quality. That's where I might get some people is where these films place. Because my number one might not be number one for everyone else. But that being said, I do have some honorable mentions. First is The Godfather. Uh, I feel like this would be typically number one best book to screen adaptation, but I have not read the book yet. Yeah, I have not read the Godfather book yet. Uh, the movie, one of the greatest of all time. Not gonna touch upon it because I have not read the book. The Lord of the Rings trilogy, iffy. I I I feel like I like the book better. The book, you know what I mean. Uh, but I can see why the debate is had that the movies are better. Jurassic Park, same as The Godfather. I have not read the book yet, but I feel like that one's a bit more close. That's closer in terms of what is perceived as better. Uh, Disney adaptations, I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna. This list would be full of Disney movies. Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yeah, that one's probably. That was a bad example. That's probably the one I would say is more even. Same with Lion King and Hamlet. That's pretty, at least in my opinion, pretty close. But, I think all of the Disney Animation Studios movies, at least most of them, are based off of fairy tales. You could say books. So I decided just to leave it off. Not gonna do it. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I've watched the English movie, but I have not seen the Swedish version, the Swedish adaptation. But I hear both of them are very good. I enjoyed the English version movie, the English movie I watched, but I also really enjoyed the book, and I'm not really sure which one I prefer. Probably the book, but I do intend on watching the Swedish movie. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I do I really think it's better than the book? I don't know, but it is the best Harry Potter movie. Just wanted to put it on the list, I guess. And then some Stephen King adaptations. I say some because one, there are some very bad Stephen King adaptations, and two, there are some Stephen King adaptations on my list. And with that being said, I guess we can jump to number 10 here, The Shining. This might be the one I get the most pushback on. I do prefer the movie over the book. I would read other Stephen King books before this, and I feel like maybe this is. I watched The Shining first before I read the book. So everything that happened, I was just equating it to the movie. I do like the details of The Shining. I like the background on how he got the job at the Overlook, everything regarding the dissension into madness. Shining, it seems like the madness is just already there with Jack Nicholson's performance. Two different interpretations of the same idea, and I just feel like I like the movie more. Maybe it's because I watched it before reading the book, but this is the one that I'd be like, I can see the debate. Of course, iconic lines, iconic scenes. I feel like just the iconic nature of the film just boosted it over the book. Like I feel like the movie is more iconic than the book. That's gonna be how it is, just based off of the two mediums. More people are gonna watch the movie than read the book. This next one I was tempted to leave off because I feel like it's unfair to do this to this book because it is a children's book. Later in the list, there's another one that I would equate to this, so I just decided to put it on. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, uh, an adaptation of the book Charlie and the Charlie Factory, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Iconic performance by Gene Wilder. A whimsical movie that is also very dark. And it's just a great film, really. I will preface this book, I think, yes, yes. This book is the book I read the longest, and I can't speak today. The longest amount of time since I've read it, if that makes sense. The other books on this list I have read after reading this, so it's been a while since I read this. I do think the gap for these two is wider than what I have it. It's just been so long since I've read the book that I felt it was unfair to put it any higher on the list. Shining is like, I think that Shining might be the only book on this list where people know it was based off of a book. And then the other films on here, people will be like, oh, that was a book? Because the movie is so well known. This one really threw me for a loop when I heard that Willy Wonka was based off of a book. But, well, one, I was young when I heard that, and two, most movies are based off of books. But yeah, that's Willy Wonka, a great film and a passable book from what I remember. That is the reason I'm not putting it any higher is that it's been a while since I read it. With that rambly explanation out the way, we're going Silence of the Lambs, number 8. Um, I think this is pretty close in terms of quality. I just feel like the performances of, oh no, Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster, well, I remember their names good. I feel like the performances just elevated above the source material. One of my favorite movies. I really like Silence of the Lambs. And it is a bit like mm, I prefer books, but Silence of the Lambs in probably my top 10 favorite films, whereas the book isn't even near. So I find that interesting. I'm curious. I am curious what other people think. Yeah, leave some other films that are better than the book down below. Like I was reminded doing research for this video, I almost said book, doing research for this video that Forrest Gump was a book, as a movie based off of a book. So I was very interested in seeing what other people thought, what other people's opinions on this would be. Also, the cinematography of Silence of the Lambs, the looking through Clarice's viewpoint with the camera, seeing through her eyes with the camera, what a brilliant choice that I feel like also elevates this movie. No shade to Silence of the Lambs, no shade to any of these books, really. I feel like they're all of quality. It's just the filmmakers, the directors just took the source material and I don't want to say pasted because it's not like copy paste. They elevated the source material. They perfectly transitioned it to the big screen, and it from the plethora of adaptations we get, that's hard to do. So I feel like these films deserve to be celebrated. Next up is another one I'm iffy on. Blade Runner, uh, an adaptation of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. What a mouthful that title is. It's again doing two different things. I just really. I'm not. Like, out of all these films, again, thinking, ah, okay, there's one that I might say, but I would say Blade Runner is on the lower end on this list of personally movies I like. Like, I did enjoy it, but it's not like these other films where I was gushing about the film. I'm glad I watched Blade Runner. It's a very interesting film. It deals with some unique concepts. I feel like the book, I don't know if it's just me, but the book felt kind of cluttered. It felt like there was a lot going on, subplots that were eventually cut out for the movie. I feel like the movie kind of takes is a different genre almost, turns this like this deep look at what a like a dystopian future would look like, and kind of spins it into like a crime that what's the noir. That's what I'm thinking of. And I feel like that was a choice that helped it reach a wider audience. I feel, and that to the movie's credit, of course. If they were to do a direct adaptation of the book, definitely would not have done as well, and I would have been difficult. I don't see it reaching even close to the heights of that the movie has reached. I can see people disagreeing with me on this one because it's like they're doing two different things. All right, this is one I feel is a kind of a no-brainer, I guess. It's Princess Bride. Book is fun and good. I really like the book, but I don't feel like there's any comparison really. I feel like the book is enhanced because I watched the movie. I am sad the zoo wasn't adap- adapted, adaptationed. Jesus, my brain is not working today. Like the levels of the zoo that Wesley had to go through was sad that wasn't in the film. Although the film's perfect as it is. It didn't need that. And again, I feel like the performances add to it. Just the whole atmosphere of the movie adds more to the movie than the book. Like it's a weird thing that I'm seeing here where the film does have this atmosphere, this feeling that is just missing from the book. And typically it's the other way around, I feel. Again, Princess Bride, one of my favorite films. The book, uh, if I had read it without watching the movie, I feel like it would have been a rememberable experience. Memorable experience, a rememberable experience. Oh man, I felt like it would have been a memorable experience, but I don't feel like it would have been in my top 20 per se. And I feel like they made some good character changes with Buttercup specifically that make the film more digestible, more enjoyable. So yeah, number 6 is Princess Bride. And my number 5 is a book I just read, is Jaws. Now, I read this book because one, it was short. Well, take a step back, actually. I was preparing to do this video when I remembered Jaws was on my to be read. I figured I'd just bump it up a few places, read it before I made this, see if I could fit Jaws on here. And yeah, I feel like the movie is better. I did enjoy Jaws, the book. I feel like shark's my favorite animal, so I probably would have enjoyed Jaws without the movie. But the differences the movie makes, I 100% agree with. I don't know about because there's the ending, the how they deal with the shark. The book kind of anticlimactic, and the movie explosive, in what you want in a blockbuster type film, but a bit more unrealistic. So I go back and forth. It's like I would have liked something a bit in the middle, but I like all the characters are kind of unlikable in the book, which doesn't make it lesser of a read, but in Jaws, the characters are much more likable. I really like Quint in the movie, kind of like Quint in the book, to be honest, but Quint in the movie, I really like him. And not to mention just the filmmaking aspect of this film. The dolly zoom, of course, the iconic dolly zoom shot, and the workaround with the budget of where to put the shark where, using the camera as like the focus of the shark, doing POV shots of the shark, which kind of mirrors the book. So I feel like that's just perfect dichotomy, not showing the shark until later, which also the book does. The more I think about it, this is a great depiction of a perfect uh, adaptation that follows the source material but adds to it. Like it does take away the subplot of the adultery, which was weird. Like that blindsided me because I had only watched the film. And then the deaths that are in the book but not the film also was interesting to me. I feel like I'm rambling this video, but this channel, these two channels are for me to ramble. So looking back at all these films, I do feel like this is the closest, in terms of a copy paste scenario, like did justice to the source material the most. Maybe I'm incorrect on that, but that's how I feel. I forgot. I, I did forget honorable mention, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which was going to be put on this list at number 10 before I put Jaws. But I'm glad I did because I'm not really sure if I like the movie more than the book because yeah, they're doing two different. It's kind of like the POV changes from Chief Bromden to Jack Nicholson's character, McCready. Oh God, you know who I'm talking about. McMurray. McMurray. That sounds right. McMurphy. McMurphy. I think it's McMurphy. But you know what? I'm getting lost in the details here. It's not even the film that I'm talking about. Yeah, Jaws, a great film. Good book as well. So this next pick, I see all the time in lists like this. Uh, Films better than the book. And I was curious, read the book. I thought it was good, but yeah, I think even the author has said that the movie is better than the book, which fair play to that. Fight Club. Yeah, well, going into the movie, I knew the twist. I'm not going to say what the twist is, but I knew the twist going in. I found this interesting actually. Apparently, there's a study that says if you're spoiled for something, you will actually enjoy that thing more. And might agree with that because I really did like this film, and knowing the twist, picking up all the little clues going forward, I was like, Fight Club the book, good. It's just that the themes, the messages, we'll call them themes, of the movie it just felt enhanced from the book. I feel like it took all the themes from the book, polished it up, tied in some cinematic flair, and just threw it out there. And it's a great film. I was gonna say one of the greatest films of all time. It's up there. I feel like people agree it's up there. Um, and the reason it's this high is I believe the author has stated that the film is better than the book. I feel like you can't really get much better than that. but I did enjoy the book. I mean, I enjoyed all these books really, but seeing where Fight Club originated, it was an interesting process. It's kind of like that with all these books, where I'm not reading the book for the story, I'm reading to see how the movie was adapted from it. I am curious what my thoughts would be if I read all these books first and then watched the movie. I'm really curious if there's a book out there where I've read the book first, watched the movie, and liked the movie more. That would be a video that I'd like to do. None are coming to my mind. So I'm going to move on. Fight Club number 4. Very good. So this next one has a bit of jump, in my opinion, from the quality of the book and the quality of the movie. Number 3 is Casino Royale. Uh, Daniel Craig, 2006 Casino Royale, just to be clear. Uh, an adaptation of the first Bond book. Yes, an adaptation of the first Bond book, which I read this actually, I think it was 2 days after first watching Casino Royale for the first time, which took me a while to get there. Not a big Bond fan, but I tried to watch some of them. This one's my favorite, Casino Royale 2006. Read the book. It was fine, you know. I enjoyed it. Not a big Bond fan. I don't like the Bond tropes. So I feel like Casino Royale took that experience and just made it more to my liking. So that's pretty much it. It's basically the same plot. Did the American was the American the backstabber? Like, did the American betray him? Because I feel like the American was good in the movie. I'm getting things mixed up. But just for me personally, a more enjoyable experience with the movie Casino Royale. Number 2 was actually a late addition because I had forgotten that I had read the book. What a weird book compared to the movie, I feel. Wizard of Oz. So many great changes, let's just put it like that. What a. Okay, so Wizard of Oz, the first one, Wonderful Wizard of Oz, children's book that deals with a lot of violence. Like the Tin Man is a woodsman who chops his own limbs off. That's grotesque, but all right. And I just feel like the changes to the movie made so much sense. Maybe I'm just blinded by Wizard of Oz being in the pop culture bubble, and so my mind immediately just equates that to that's what happens. So when I did read the book and these minor changes, I'd say, it just felt off. And of course, Wizard of Oz, an iconic movie, and one of the most iconic movies. And again, this is one that I feel like people will be surprised that it's based off of a book. So I feel like this one's self explanatory, Wizard of Oz. And this one could theoretically be number 1. I feel like Godfather, if I had read the book, might be number 1. But my number 1 is personal to me because I love the movie, went into the book, and was just very disappointed. It's not really a book, it's actually a novella, Shawshank Redemption. Now, again, the movie, one of my favorites. So when I did go into the book, I was expecting the movie, and it just wasn't. Like, I see where the ideas for the movie came from, and it's mainly like, the movie has Morgan Freeman narration, iconic, just uh, keeping the same warden throughout the film, I felt was more emotionally impactful. And also Shawshank Redemption book, Rita Hayworth in Shawshank Redemption, just very short novella, doesn't pack a lot of details in there, very trim, I would say. So the movie is like the one of the few adaptations that adds detail, I feel. and it just adds to the experience. I feel like the two don't really even compare in my mind. Uh, I did one of the rules was I had to enjoy the book, and I did because I was equating it to the movie. Um, yeah, this is the biggest jump in quality for me. I can see other people saying Wizard of Oz. This one's personal to me. So yeah, that's been top 10 movies I find better than the books. There are other ones out there. I do want to do the opposite. Now, books better than the movie, and I know there's like a plethora of bad adaptations out there I can pick. I do want to stick to the rule that both the book and the film are well regarded, so that I'm not just dunking on bad adaptations. But that's a video for another time. Until next time, farewell, fellow readers, and farewell, fellow cinephiles.